allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Land acknowledgement. Yes, Trustee Doggett, can you read the land acknowledgement? There it is.
The Pacifica School District acknowledges that we gather on the unceded ancestral homelands of the Ramaytush Ohlone people. As guests, we humbly extend our gratitude to the Ramaytush Ohlone elders and community. We recognize that we benefit from living and working on their traditional homeland, and we affirm their sovereign rights as First Peoples. As the original stewards of this land, the Ramaytush Ohlone understand the interconnectedness of all things and the importance of maintaining harmony with nature. Likewise, Pacifica School District commits to teaching our school community how to be responsible stewards of this land.
Thank you. Barbara, will you take the roll? Here.
Here. Here. Here. Here.
The district records the audio portion of the meetings. All recordings are kept in the superintendent's office for 30 days and are available during that time period for inspection by members of the public on district equipment without charge. In-person speakers wishing to address the board on agenda or non-agenda items, please complete a request card with your name, address, and the item number and submit it to the board or superintendent. You'll be called to address the board. Virtual speakers wishing to address the board on agenda or non-agenda items, please submit your first and last names on the agenda item you wish to speak on in the Q&A area of the webinar. Do not submit comments or questions in the Q&A area. You will be called to address the board. Your microphone will be unmuted and you may speak for up to 3 minutes. Please note the public is welcome to provide comment to the board. Remarks are limited to 3 minutes unless extended or limited by a vote of the board. A maximum of 20 minutes, unless extended by the board, is allocated for each subject discussed. The Brown Act open meetings regulations under which the board must operate do not allow board members to comment on non-agenda items or information that you bring up that may not be on the agenda. Additionally, no action can be taken. However, the board may give direction to staff following a comment. Okay, approval of the agenda. I'd like to move item 11A, the retiree, up to the first item in number 10, which would be under the information, but it is an action item, just so they don't have to be here all evening. Okay, do I have a motion to approve the agenda with that change?
I'll second. All in favor, please raise your hands. Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, report out on closed session topics. Let's see. On item E, the board voted 5-0 to approve. Okay. Item 8, approval of the consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda will be approved with one motion, which is not debatable, and which requires a unanimous vote for passage. If any member of the board, the superintendent, or the public so requests, any item shall be removed from this section and placed on the regular order of business following approval of the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second. Please raise your hands. Motion passes.
Communications, number 9, LSEA.
Good evening, Board, Dr. Williams, and Cabinet. My name is Kelly Edelhart, and I'm speaking tonight as the LSEA Vice President. A lot has happened since my last address to you. We find ourselves full of more uncertainty than we did just 1 week ago. We also find ourselves in a time of opportunity. While we cannot and will not simply put all of the turmoil and challenges from this previous school year behind us, and all that led up to it, we now have an important choice ahead of us. LSEA hopes we can move forward together as players on the same team with the common goal of doing what is right and best for our students. We are not interested in being rivals with opposing agendas. We look forward to partnering with you to take some much needed time to really assess what direction we are looking to go in our district and which leaders will best suit us getting there as a united group. On this occasion, we can evaluate which homegrown leaders among us are best suited for this difficult yet vital work. We implore you to partner with us during this time of uncertainty to make certain our common goal. Not only our union members, but the greater Pacifica community will be looking closely at the discussions you have tonight with your very important action items. We look forward to working with whomever is identified to take on the new positions. Dr. Williams, we wish you the best as you move on.
Okay. CSEA? Okay.
Zoom out. That's so funny. Good evening. What a year it's been. CSEA remains committed to working collaboratively with you and the broader community as we look toward the future to help identify new leadership, foster growth, and begin to heal. Right now, morale among staff and within the community is low. The decisions you make in the coming months will have a lasting impact, and your labor partners want to be a part of those decisions. We want to work with you, not against you. You've heard me say this before, and I'll continue to say it until real change happens. Classified employees in this district feel underappreciated and undervalued. We are consistently the first to be laid off. When positions are vacated due to retirement or resignation, they often go unfilled, and their responsibilities are redistributed to already overburdened staff. Take our maintenance department as a clear example. 3 positions have been vacant for far too long. The 3 remaining employees are buried in work orders and struggling to meet the day-to-day needs of the district. They're doing their best, but it's not sustainable. This same issue exists across many departments. It sends a message that our labor is expected, but not truly respected.
What's more frustrating is seeing the board agenda include the creation of a deputy superintendent position with a salary increase when we've repeatedly been told there is no money. When it comes to cabinet positions, funding suddenly appears. Meanwhile, LSEA and CSEA spend countless hours negotiating for modest increases, and it feels like management consistently benefits from our advocacy. Classified staff take on extra duties when positions go unfilled, yet receive no additional compensation. We're simply expected to do more with less. We ask that you make it a priority to fill the vacant maintenance positions and begin to address the broader staffing issue across the district. Our goals in our first year as co-presidents was to foster a transparent and respectful relationship with the board, the cabinet, and all district staff. We are also working to create a stronger union by encouraging our members to become more active and informed. We feel we have made tremendous strides with both goals. We want to take a moment to thank Dr. Williams and wish her much success in her next chapter. We are confident that Dr. Bowman will do an excellent job as interim superintendent. We sincerely thank Dr. Chavez-Torres for the positive and collaborative relationship she has built with both her labor partners and the community. Thank you for your time and listening.
Okay. People wishing to address the board. I don't have any yellow cards. Is there anyone online? Yeah. Okay. Jordan, yeah. What is your last name?
Okay, let me know when I can go. Okay, my name is Jordan Steele Bedell, and I have 3 kids. Well, now just 2 kids. My daughter graduated 8th grade from IBL, but I'm a parent in the Pacifica School District, and I was just coming here to say that we can talk about Ocean Shore and Sunset Ridge and people being upset or the closure, anything like that. But what I really want to talk about is the Pacifica School District as a whole and the board as a whole and the systems and standards that you guys put in place in communicating with parents. So I have emailed countless times and I've copied, you might recognize my name. I've copied every board member. I've copied one board member. Dr. Williams, I've copied you on tons of emails in the last year and a half. And I just wanted to come on here and say that I hope that the Pacifica School District, as we're going through these changes, there's going to be new faces, that you can develop a system and a standard on how to communicate with the parents. Having 10 follow-up emails for one response is unacceptable. I also wanted to talk to fellow parents and people in my position when I'm calling to ask questions or I'm emailing to ask questions and really just get information. I feel like it takes so long and I end up doing all this research by myself. And so I developed a template for a public records request. So if there's any parents out there that would like a public records request, this is a public system, a public school. You guys work for the public, you work in the public sector. This is not a private company where you get to ghost people, where you don't get to respond. That's not how it works. And so I have a template if anybody is interested in doing a public records request. There's 10 days for them to respond. I have some QR codes here. Where's the camera? There it is. Some QR codes if anybody was interested. If anybody watching online is interested, they could email me and I can send you the document. But as of right now, I think for every email that I've sent, I have followed up at least 2 or 3 times before I get a response. Some of them are very simple requests and others are a little bit more complicated. But I've even asked, like, can you please say confirmed? Can somebody please say that they opened this email, they read this email? It doesn't happen. And I just feel that we're trying to rebuild and have a community of people working together, team effort, like all these buzzwords that are being used, but it doesn't feel that way. And this is outside of the schools mixing up and everything. It's just like, just regular common practice that there should be a standard. If someone emails you, I think that you guys need to write it down and say within 48 business hours, within 72 business hours, we'll get back to you. Even if that's, I don't know, I'll find out for you, email received, confirmed receipt. It's just the bare minimum. And I feel like it's just lost on half of the people here. And Barbara is wonderful. So shout out to Barbara, shout out to Nicole Ortega. They always respond. Is that my time? Okay, they always respond. So thank you to those ladies, but I really think that it's something everybody should consider and a standard should be built for the incoming people.
Okay, and still no one online? Barbara, still no one? Okay. We've got board superintendent correspondence. I don't know why I was in my voice. Well, a lot has happened well, there's nothing to report as far as activities, but a lot has happened in this past week anyway. And so I'll start the communications by, on behalf of the Pacifica School Board, the Board of Trustees, we want to extend our deepest appreciation and gratitude to Dr. Williams for her leadership and commitment to our students and staff. And, while we're sad to see Dr. Williams go, we're confident of the strong foundation that she leaves behind. And we'll continue to support student success and district progress in the years to come. Thank you for your leadership. You have left a meaningful mark on Pacifica School District and will carry forward the values and systems that you helped build. And we wish you the very best in the next chapter, and you'll always be a part of our family. Thank you. Anyone else?
I just want to say thank you. Genuinely thank you for getting us to where we are today. We could not have done that without you. And I know it's been very difficult, but you helped us see where we were, which was not good. And we knew that when we hired you and get us to where now we're like, we can see the light and things are going to be okay. So I want to just say thank you for that. And also I want to just highlight some of the things that I'm really proud of. One being that you listened to us and you were like, we were saying we don't know, but we know you have the the actual experience to help us figure out what we're supposed to do. And you taught me personally a whole lot that I did not know. And I feel like I'm sad that you're leaving, but I feel much more confident as a trustee knowing that what you've taught us is going to help us move forward in a very healthy, financially healthy. Our kids are benefited so much. You brought these kids into the boardroom. We didn't have that before you. And I appreciate that. I look forward, like, it's summertime, but I'm like, man, the kids are not here. Like, I like that part. And we are going to keep that. We're going to keep the student board representative. Also, one of the things that when I got here, everybody wanted online registration. You made it happen. We've been trying to get that before you got here. You made it happen. You also led the long overdue adoption of the new English language arts curriculum. And that strengthened foundational literacy for our learners and equipped our educators with tools to better serve our students across the district. We've been trying to do that. You have accomplished so much in 2 years. And I don't think that it's as appreciated the way it should be. But I want you to know I personally appreciate what you've done. I personally have seen how much you've accomplished. And I know how challenging it has been. So thank you.
I'll piggyback on that a little bit. I remember our first meeting over there at, I can't even think of the name of it right now. Anyway, pretty much every single thing I mentioned that day. We need a new, I can't even think, report card. We need new curriculum. We need to get the grounds cleaned on a regular basis. We need to, you got our field finally finished. We got workforce housing actually emptying the walls of Odstead. There's so many things that we talked about on that first day, and you got them done. And these are lists on my list of things for 20 years as a parent, and having teachers talk to me, say, why isn't it this way? So I know it's been a hard year, and there's been really hard decisions, and it's been rough, but all these hard decisions had to happen, and I really appreciate your effort here in Pacifica, and it will be felt for many, many years to come. Thank you.
I just want to say,
Always forget that.
I want to say thank you. Let's see, if I have to say what was some of the most important things, I would say number one is our deficit spending. You helped us get out of that. And I don't remember a time when we weren't deficit spending. And what that equals is a better foundation for everything. Passing, the curriculum, compensation, and just everything. So thank you. I mean, I was going to try to find out when the last time we didn't deficit spend, and it probably went well into the early 2000s. I also want to thank you for developing the principal's role, because I feel like, and this is nobody's fault, but after COVID, it was like we were available in direct streamline to the board, and the complaints and all of the processes that had to happen. And what the thing is about a district is everybody's an expert and has their own role, like the people at the back table. So, just developing their roles too, because there were some things that we need to clean up, like special education, all of the lawsuits, and it's just like when we directed you to do something, you did it. You did it. And there weren't any excuses. No. There were never excuses. And I've heard a lot of excuses. Oh, it's not the right time. And that's probably why we were where we were. And it's true. It was hard. And we had to make difficult choices we don't want to make, but we weren't the first ones to do it. I mean, Pacifica used to have 10,000 kids. And you just, you put on a smile. I mean, you know, when you're doing your job, you're still thinking about the kids when you go to the school and, you know, smiling and not letting them feel any of that other stuff that's going on. And I think that's the most important thing is that, you know, as adults, we just keep our stuff, not the kids involved. And so I wanted to thank you for that. That's it. I could go on and on about everything that you've done. You've probably done the work of 3 superintendents in 2 years. Thank you.
To piggyback off of something you said, Dr. Williams shows up for the kids even when things are really hard. I remember this year we had our guest readers come to Sunset Ridge for the read aloud, and Dr. Williams being there reminded me that we need to really take a break for moments of joy during hard times. I have like regular communications and then things I want to say about Dr. Williams' time here. Should I do both of those right now? Yes. Okay. So it's only been a week since our last meeting, and I did receive a number of communications since the agenda was made available on Friday. People expressed worry about the changes happening at the district level between Dr. Williams' leaving and leadership transition, and the new recommendation for the Executive Director of Educational Support Services role. I know it's a lot at once. One question that came up a few times was, were any of our current principals considered for that role? And I think that's a fair question. But I just want to say, or to remind, I guess, everybody and myself that this is an interim position, and both the superintendent and the Executive Director of Educational Support Services are interim positions that will be open to the public to apply if they want to take that role. Okay. Dr. Williams, I'm sad you're leaving. I'm totally gonna cry. We met when I signed on to work on Measure G, and it's been really great to work with you. I feel like I've learned so much the last couple years that I'm really grateful for the opportunity to learn from you. Something that sticks is that, well, you've never been reactive. You've always brought it back to kids. And let's see. Yeah, there were times where you showed up when it was really hard to show up. You really didn't. You faced people and situations that were really, really hard to face. And I think something like my biggest takeaway is that equity, like you've shown me what it means, that you've shown me what equity means, that no one group of students deserves more than the next group of students. So thank you for that.
I just would like to say thank you to everyone, to the entire community. It has been a joy to serve as a superintendent for Pacifica School District. The same joy that I felt while I interviewed when I first arrived, I can still feel that. I appreciate all of the feedback, the advocacy. Tough decisions were made, some agreeable, some not, but that's why they're tough decisions. We lost a lot this year, but we also gained a lot. And so I just want the board to remember that People don't see the work that you do. And I know it feels very thankless, but I see all of you. We communicate often. You do have the heart of the community at the forefront of your decisions. You have the heart of the children in everything that you do. And I just offer and invite the community to see more of that as opposed to other things. And during the board meeting, we know people come and they give us feedback, and we love that. But see more of the recognition. And you don't do this job for recognition, but the hours, the sacrifices that you make with your families, it doesn't go unnoticed. And so I am proud to have been the superintendent for Pacifica. I'm proud to have worked alongside of all of you. I'm proud to have worked with the principals, our labor partners, the feedback, the teachers, everyone. Pacifica School District is an awesome and amazing place. And I am excited to see what the next step in the next journey will be. But I know whatever it is, it's going to be fantastic. And I am glad to have been part of it. And I will forever be changed in a good way as a result of encountering all of you and working with you. And I wish all of you the very, very best. And most importantly, I wish all of our students health, success, prosperity, joy, and love. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. So at 10 information items, we're going to skip down to 11A. And that's the resolution of appreciation for retiring employee. Dr. Bowman?
Board of Trustees, Dr. Williams. We have a resolution this evening for Susan Risotto. And I'm going to read the resolution and just congratulate her on the retirement and all the hours and service that she provided at Pacifica.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
School by helping with yard duties, classroom activity days, craft days, our favorite pretzel kisses candy, and so much more. And whereas Mrs. Risotto has provided excellent support to her administrator, teachers, staff, and students, demonstrating incredible patience, caring, pride in her work and at her school, Mrs. Risotto is truly loved and respected by all. She participated in every social event with staff, dressed up for spirit days, attended school events with the community, such as our annual auction, organized and emceed with grace and humor with countless Valimar variety shows. Whereas Mrs. Risotto has fulfilled all her duties and responsibilities as a paraprofessional with professionalism and exemplary dedication, bringing love, joy, and a nurturing spirit to countless students and staff. She not only organized and invented creative games, Hungry Hungry Hippo, Monster Ball, The Egg Hunt, my favorite, Clean the Room, classic kickball, but also provided students with meaningful outdoor play experiences. Through these moments, she consistently instilled important values: healthy, active lifestyles, sportsmanship, teamwork, sharing, and taking turns. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Pacifica School District extends its best wishes to Sue upon the occasion of her retirement following 16 years of faithful and dedicated service to public education, and extends its sincere best wishes for a rewarding and fulfilling future. Regularly passed and adopted this 18th day of June 2025. And we do want to show this off. I taught first grade for many, many, many years, and I made Sue make this. It's her star student psychomotor teacher poster, and she thought that I did not save it, but I did. And we also have some flowers and balloons for you. We love you, Sue. You're not going to show that to anybody, right? I'm sure going to show that. Yeah, I think it was right.
a picture.
Oh.
It's on YouTube now.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Wait,
Hold on.
there we go. Wait, where? Oh,
Okay.
Oh.
congratulations.
No.
Okay, I don't think we have any questions. So do I have a motion to approve the resolution of retirement?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Raise your hand. Motion passes 5-0. You're welcome. You're welcome. It's photo date. Now.
Yes, so. Well, you're gonna be up there.
With this or without?
With
the road. With all of it. I think that all.
everyone. Yeah, all those years of service.
Okay. Item 10A. CSA and its chapter 128 initial proposal for the 2025-28 successor negotiations. Dr. Ladd? Yeah.
We can do it together. Let's get it together. Go first.
The initial proposal in the California School Employees Association, CSEA, and its Pacifica chapter number 128 to the Pacifica School District for the 2025-28 successor negotiations. CSEA desires to alter or amend the current collective bargaining agreement, which expires on June 30th, 2025 as follows. Article 1 agreement, CSEA has an interest in a 3-year successor agreement with reopeners. Article 9 vacation, CSEA has an interest in memorializing the practice of cashing out unused vacation. Article 10 compensation, CSEA has an interest in bullet number 1, a fair and equitable salary increase for all bargaining unit members. Bullet 2, improving benefits, proration Proration rates for employees who work less than 7 hours per day. Bullet 3, changing the threshold for receiving out-of-class pay. Bullet 4, ensuring out-of-class pay for unit members who temporarily work in assignments beyond their regular work hours. And bullet 5, improving longevity pay. Article 11, employee expenses and materials. CSEA has an interest in bullet 1, increasing the allowance/reimbursement for footwear. Bullet 2, expanding special clothing and footwear entitlements to more classifications. Article 12, leaves. CSEA has an interest in bullet 1, updating language to reflect current law. Bullet 2, increasing the number of no-tell days and personal necessity days. Article 14, transfers. CSEA has an interest in effectuating transfers in a timely manner. Article 26, professional growth increment PGI program. CSEA has an interest in improving the compensation for professional growth credits earned. The California School Employees Association and its Pacifica Chapter number 128 reserves the right to make additional proposals at any time during the bargaining process, including but not limited to responses to proposals made by the district. This is presented to you for information.
Thank you. I don't have to read it.
Okay.
Okay. Item B, multi-tiered system of support and school climate. Dr. Ladd.
Good evening, President Burdell, Board Trustees. Tonight, I'm bringing to you a report on the multi-tiered systems of support and school climate. Thank you, Cyrus. What I'm going to do tonight is sort of review the big ideas embedded in the MTSS framework, a discussion on some of our suspension data and our discipline data, and some discussion on the work ahead. First, I wanted to take a look. The next slide, please. And this, the next slide after this. This is a visual of the MTSS framework, and the whole child domain is across the top, and the domain with which we mostly work on in schools, that principals and teachers work on most often in schools. You'll see over there on the far left are academics, which is learning, which is our children's curiosity and wonder about the world around us, understanding and making sense, and becoming citizens in this community. The second, or the middle orange box, is behavior, which is our capacity for managing and responding to the external impacts. And then number 3 is social and emotional learning, or mental health, which is our capacity to develop our internal resiliency to have satisfying relationships with ourselves and others. All 3 of these big orange boxes are all intertwined, interdependent, and inextricably bound. So positive learning experiences depend and also bring positive and impact positively our behavior and our mental health, as positive mental health impacts our academics positively. So you can see that there's an interrelationship and an intertwining of all 3 things. So a really strong multi-tiered systems of support builds strength for students in all 3 of these areas. That's why we call it the whole child domain. The boxes underneath are essential domains and features that support the whole child. The secret here is if there's a weakness in one of the orange boxes, there is likely a weakness in the blue boxes. So by addressing the blue box or seeking to support a blue box better, you probably will be strengthening the orange box, which we'll talk about at future meetings. So let's next, please. Okay. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I got you. Thank you. This is the famous MTSS pyramid, and or a pyramid of support. The very bottom is the green portion is what we call universal support. All of our children receive universal supports. universal behavior supports, universal mental health supports, universal academic supports. Children that need additional or targeted supports, usually that's about 15% of our students, and then some students may need more intensive supports. What I want to really draw your attention to is the sort of the gray blue line that goes up the middle, which is that students with disabilities aren't off the triangle. They're not somewhere up in the red zone. They fully participate in multi-tiered systems of support by receiving universal supports, targeted supports if need be, and intensive supports, even though they may also have an IEP, or a 504 plan if they're a gen ed student. This is also true of students, language learners, as well as gifted students. We talk about, I want to take another sort of way of looking at this. If you can see sort of the blue dots represent staff and the green dots represent students. So here you see, this is kind of like the students in a typical classroom outnumber the staff, right? This is your universal support. And most of the students will be able to be in a classroom and benefit from their instruction. If students need more support in one or more of our target areas, academics, behavior, or social emotional learning, or mental health, which is typically around 15% of our universal group of students. Then here you would see small groups, and that's represented the green dots with one adult, small groups of students which would be receiving targeted support. And you note that there isn't a title given to the blue dot, right? The blue dot could be any kind of support provided by any dot or any adult that is able to provide that kind of support. So that kind of support could be provided by somebody who knows how to give that support. Could be the vice principal, the assistant principal. It could be a check-in, check-out system that's provided by school support staff, by a counselor, by a classroom teacher, by a physical education teacher. So, that's why we don't actually put job responsibilities in targeted support, because it's who's best able to work with a small group of students. It could be a resource teacher. It could be an intervention teacher, but it is not necessarily a position that's just for targeted support. And then finally, we have intensive support. And this may mean, and you see that kind of like the dot has changed, where one student may be receiving assistance from more than one adult. So they may have a check-in, check-out with a couple of adults during the school day. They may receive emotional support from another adult in the school, or they may be receiving academic support from somebody, either a classroom teacher, additional academic support, or intervention support from somebody outside of the class. I just would make a note that in this district, the top triangle does not signify special education. So multi-tiered systems of support is both a system of prevention and a system of intervention. And at its best, MTSS is a system of prevention. And this year, Dr. Bowman and her team have instituted through their dyslexia screeners. You've heard a lot about DIBBLES, and DIBBLES is going to really help us to have a formal process of screening students regarding their reading readiness. We also have ways to screen for screen students sort of generally around how they're doing behaviorally, how they're doing in what their peer relationships are like in school. We also are looking at ways to look at how children are doing with math, those types of things. In their PBIS framework, we're also looking at ways to look at our data so that we can address students who find themselves having a lot of referrals to the office, and kind of looking at that data and seeing how we can use that data to address and prevent chronic referrals to the office and be able to intervene sooner. So we have Tier 1 PBIS implementation, supplemental SEL curriculum, caring school communities, teaching children how to be in school, teaching children about the 5 CASEL core competencies. Self-management, how to have peer relationships, how to manage yourself, how to manage your school tools and the environment around you. We also have Stop It, which is an anonymous reporting app, so that students can not only report how they're being treated, but they can also report how they're feeling. There's a lot of different unique uses for Stop It. That's not just about reporting how you're being treated, but also how you're feeling. So there's been a number of unique uses that we found. It's 4th grade through 8th grade. There's a number of school initiatives that you heard last time we met when the principals reported on their SIPSAs around school initiatives and assemblies related to behavior and mental health. Those will continue to go on. And then we also have a very active school counseling program and supports that provide individual, small group, and some large group activities for students. There's a lot of different and unique ways to track and analyze data. And oftentimes we look at data sort of forensically, right? At the end of the year, this is what happened. Why do you think this is what happened? What can we do about it? And then we're like, let's try this. This year we're going to do this. And then at the end of the year, we're like, well, did it work? And we try to say whether or not it worked. This coming year, we're going to start looking at data more in real time, looking at it more monthly, or if we're noticing something's happening, say on the playground or at lunchtime or during a particular time, grabbing data about that particular time and saying, what is it that's going on and how might we be able to address it more quickly, so that we are so that the behavior itself isn't becoming habitual and isn't escalating. So one of the things that we are going to be putting in place, Dr. Cundiff has something up at Sunset Ridge that she calls screen teams. And more formally, they're called coordination of service teams. And the principals, all the principals at all the schools are interested in putting coordination of service teams together to look at every week, every couple of weeks, with district support, have a referral process for addressing things that are going on in their school related to academics, behavior, and mental health that are more globally related to their schools, not necessarily like a student study team. And that would include their counselor, perhaps their school psychologist, our program coordinator of student services would be the district support, and of course the principal or the assistant principal. And so, here's a look at, this is a multi look at our, some of our suspension data this is August through March of this year. And this gives you sort of a look at the type of incidents that our principals are working with and the types of incidents that cause suspension. If we look through the data, fighting, physical injury caused by fighting is the number one reason why children get suspended. The obscene or profane language is another reason, is the second, and then acts of bullying is the third highest reason, which is interesting because students are reporting high incidences of bullying, and a lot of that is being remediated, but not necessarily suspended. So we want to start looking more closely at the impacts of the remediation in creating a safer environment at school, but not using suspension to do that. Here is a look at suspensions by grade level. And I think that kind of speaks for itself. The largest number of suspensions, of course, are in middle school. And I think that the largest, obviously the grade level is in sixth grade. So we look across our 6th through 8th grades at our K-8s and at our middle school. And we need to ask ourselves the question, how can we help our sixth graders? What's going on here? And maybe cross with this data and say, where are our sixth graders falling with the type of suspension? And then we start talking about what is the prevention, what can we do in the classroom? How can we acknowledge the work that students are doing? And then maybe there needs to be specific work at the grade level in the classroom and maybe even specific assembly type work. And then also family outreach. And then here is some demographic data. So some of the things that stick out to me is students with disabilities. This is at 33%. So 33% of the students suspended had IEPs. The majority of those were in 6th through 8th grade. The other thing that stands out to me is the male-female ratio. So most of the reasons for suspension are externalizing behaviors. And those are the behaviors that you're going to see in boys, but then there also needs to be a little bit more digging in root cause, right? What's the root cause of the externalizing behavior? The percentage of suspensions versus percentage of enrollment is a tough comparison because the number of suspensions is so low, but it is a number that we want to look closely at. And you can see disproportionality in terms of ethnicity around Asian. So I would say African American or Black looks like it's disproportionate, but the actual number is 1. So it's disproportionate. So there's a lot of work to be done here. Stacy and I were talking earlier. 32 is a high number. So we would really want to be working with our principals on the practice of alternatives to suspension, not in-house suspension, but alternatives to suspension, restorative justice practices, especially with respect to if our highest reason for suspension is fighting, what are our restorative practices in terms of alternatives to suspension that can be happening? There are some things that are low, like hate speech and sexual harassment, which are really low number of incidences, but they do have the potential to have far-reaching consequences for safety on campus. So we do need to pay attention to those incidences as well. And I think that this is where we need to do a lot of prevention because certain incidences of behavior in children it may be acceptable in 1st grade or 2nd grade, but in 4th grade, it becomes sexual harassment. So there needs to be a lot of education as children are growing older about what's acceptable behavior and what isn't. So there's lots of room for education around these things. So here's some looking ahead. Schools have been implementing their PBIS frameworks, Tier 1. Big things to look ahead is looking at other sources of data as opportunities. Number 5, to develop and innovate preventative practices and interventions. And I'm looking forward to our principals launching their coordination of services teams and to develop, implement, and monitor tiers of support for students. I think that that's probably the biggest space where we're going to see a real dent in the number of suspensions that we have for students. And then are there any questions?
I would love to hear more about that team you just mentioned, COST team?
Mhm. So the teams typically meet twice a month. They're composed of the principal or assistant principal would lead the team, and then support providers. So it could be a school psychologist, counselor, the behaviorist, and the student services person would all be there. Referrals can be made to the team. A student can be referred, or there could be a problem that's referred to the team, and then they would brainstorm. Sometimes the coordination of services could include looking at outside services to support the child or the family, and it would also include looking at it includes looking at academics, behavior, and mental health supports. And then an action plans are developed, timelines are put together, and then interventions are put together. And sometimes it involves providing support to a teacher. Sometimes involves providing support, say the child is having a problem in the lunchroom, providing support to staff in the lunchroom to help the staff in the lunchroom manage what is maybe happening in the lunchroom. So it is a way to sort of provide innovative support in the school for the child around tier 1 or tier 2 supports for students.
Thanks.
Mhm.
So my question is about the types of incidents. What is the difference between physical injury and force or violence? Because I feel like they're kind of related. So I was just wondering. Like you said, a lot of them were for fights, which I think is violence. So I'm trying to understand the distinction.
Forceful acts of violence is two people fighting together, and physical violence is one person acting on another, fighting another person. Mhm.
I have a question. Do we have any grants that would help us put together some informational assemblies for the kids? So that they can learn some appropriate behaviors when they're feeling bad or mad or sad. And I haven't seen an assembly in a long time. The last assembly I went to was for lice.
Yeah.
And so we were willing to do it for that.
Mhm.
And so I think, we should be more than willing to do it for the students' behaviors in class.
We've had a number of assemblies at the 6th through 8th level for students around how they're feeling, around how to work on their externalizing behaviors, around around what hate speech is and accepting others. So there's lots of different kinds of assemblies that people have had. I can get a list from the principals about what they have done in school. As far as a particular grant, I think they've been using site funds to do those kinds of things. I know they do look for free things. Like I know Kaiser has done things in our schools before, and so we try to get on the routine to have Kaiser come and do things with us as well in those areas. Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes, children have like this thing going where they don't want to talk to the teacher because they're mad at them, or they don't want to talk to the principal because it's on the side, or just learning, different ways. And even though we're doing it for the middle schoolers, I think we need to teach the littles ones appropriate behavior too. And so having something for them that they can model.
Mm-hmm. It used to be that the social and emotional curriculum was sort of the hidden curriculum, and now it's not. Like we adopt the curriculum, and it is to be a part of what is taught and learned during the school day. And the PBIS framework, teachers develop lessons to teach kids how to be in school, and they have a whole acknowledgement process, and then it's retaught and relearned. So.
And you don't have to get like a list from all the principals of every assembly. I'm just saying going forward.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you.
Item C, LCAP location indicators. Stacy?
Good evening again. As part of the LCAP process, we need to look at our local indicators. And as part of the educational services, support services, we looked at that as a team. And so I'd like to introduce Dr. Stauffer, excuse me, Dr. Stacy Stauffer, who will be reviewing that information with you. And then you'll hear the LCAP in just a little bit for approval.
Hi, good evening. So this is our local indicators reflection report. I'm Dr. Stacy Stauffer. Thank you for joining me this evening, and thank you to those at home. So first we're going to go over, and I just want to make sure, there we go, what the indicators mean. So the indicators feed into the LCFF evaluation rubrics. LCFF is our local control funding formula. So what that is how funding is distributed to school districts. This is a self-reflection document, but what that means is we are going to use data that we've already collected and we pull from those data sources. So we have 5 local indicators that we're looking at. We have priority 1, which is basic conditions. From that, we use the school accountability report card as a data source. We are looking at basic conditions, which means teachers and facilities. Priority 2 is implementation of academic standards. Those are standards of instruction. Priority 3 is parent engagement. So that's the relationships, partnerships, and seeking input. Priority 6 is school climate. For priorities 2, 3, and 6, we are using Panorama survey data. Priority 7 is access to a broad course of study. And for that, we are using data from CalPADS. Priority 1, basic services. As previously stated, we are looking at teachers and facilities. So we have a total teaching staff with 140 full-time educators. So that's what FTE is. We have 109 with clear credentials, 15 out of field credentials. So you might have a multiple subject teacher teaching an extra section that is not in their specialized credential area, or a math teacher teaching math and science. And we can apply for waivers for those. We have intern credentials. We have 10. That is a benefit to our school district because we have teachers that are fresh and able to get them and flourish them in their careers. We have 21 ineffective, so they might not, those can be categorized in different areas, such as misaligned and or not meeting their deadlines for credentialing, or they let their credentials lapse and we won't retain those. Then we have 1 identified instance where facilities do not meet good repair. That means it's not the whole facility that's not in good repair. It's 1 instance in a facility. Priority 2, implementation of academic standards. Overall, our average was 3. So when we are looking at, our reflection tools, we're asked to rate ourselves anywhere from 1 to 5. So 1 is the exploration and research phase, 2 is beginning development, 3 is initial implementation, 4 is full implementation, and 5 is full implementation and sustainability. So over that range, we are about an average of 3 across the board, which is good. So we're about initial implementation, and that's because a lot of our curriculum is new. And so that's great, because we have a lot of things that we're excited about. So we have our ELA and math curriculum that's new. We do have 1 in a couple areas. So we have our history and social science, which we are scored at exploration and research phase, because this next year we are going to be looking at adopting a new history and social studies curriculum. Same thing with CTE. We scored ourselves at a 2 because we are in the adoption phase because the CTE program is new. So we are exploring and adopting new CTE curriculum for both medical, engineering, and exploration pathways. So our findings is that we do want professional development for all grade levels to support the implementation of our academic standards. That includes for the ELA and ELL open core curriculum that we just adopted, for math, CPM, and bridges, for NGSS with HMH in grades K through 5 and Carolina in grades 6 through 8. And we will be offering this PD for all educators, both certificated teachers and those who are supporting at the beginning of the school year for anybody who's interested. Priority 3 is parent engagement. So there's 3, so we pulled this data from Panorama surveys, and there are 3 areas. Overall, we did majority favorable. In parent participation and decision-making that affects school policies, we have a favorable rating of 91%. For increasing parent-student events, we're at 89%. And increasing communication between parents, teachers, and administrators, we're at 93%. We are setting a goal, though, for our district to improve those scores to reach 95% because it's never good enough. We want to increase. We've heard what the community has to say, and we want to do better. We want to reach out. So how are we going to do that? So we want parents to feel welcomed on campus. Parent participation rates in events have steadily increased. So it shows that there's growing of that participation, but feedback from families and community stakeholders indicate that they want proactive two-way communication. So not just outgoing communication, but that follow through, especially with families of English learners, families with students with disability, and those from historically underserved groups. So that includes increasing staff training in culturally responsive communication, expanding home languages in outreach materials, so not using English only, offering more flexible opportunities for family engagement, including the use of digital meetings, alternative meeting times, so we can have more parents with various schedules, and options for feedback, including Panorama surveys. We're also going to use targeted strategies to build trust and foster meaningful relationships, expanding access to bilingual staff and interpretation services, enhancing communication through our culturally and linguistically responsive platforms, and as I mentioned again, flexible meeting times and formats to accommodate the family schedules, because that is important. Not every family is going to have the same schedule, and we recognize that. Priority 6, school climate. So overall, we had a good response of 90% favorable at school climates. So parents responded that they feel supported at school. Student responses were 84% favorable. What we want to look at here, though, is when we looked at who responded, we see that 50% of respondents are white, while 39.9% of the parent population is white. 7% of the Hispanic population responded when our demographic in the community is 26.6%, indicating we're not getting a high percentage of respondents that are reflective of the community. If we want to break that down by numbers, because sometimes percentages aren't reflective of numbers, and I realize that, 183 parent respondents for the white population and only 26 parent respondents from our Hispanic community. For student respondents, when we're looking at disproportionality, we had a disproportionate rate when it comes to our 5th grade students. Overall, we had a great response amongst all grade levels, but it dropped in 5th grade. So with fifth grade, only 78 students, which was 8% of the survey. Overall, we have 260 students that should have responded. And across all other grade levels, we didn't see that drop. So supporting schools and staff in being able to have that time carved out in the day to take that survey. Also having those multilingual communication abilities to support parents in being able to respond are some of the ways we'll be able to help with those response times. Okay. Finally, access to a broad course of study, professional barriers within the school. So here's where we look at how we support parents and what barriers might exist. We have professional development in all curricular areas for broad and equitable instruction. We mentioned that PD that's coming. Equitable offerings at the middle school level in all elective courses. So we looked at our course offerings and made sure that at the middle school level, no matter which middle school a student decides to enroll in, they get the same elective offerings. So we want to make sure that students get those choices. Barriers outside of school and extra textbooks are not currently provided, but we're able to fill that need by those digital copies. All students receive those digital copies and can be provided a hard copy upon request. We're currently unaware of technology literacy amongst parents and students. So there's technology literacy versus the regular literacy rates. So we're happy to announce that we do have the enrollment center here to provide support to parents who have needs with the online enrollment. Also being set up currently with our tech department, we have parent resource computers, 2 for every site that will be available in the fall. So if parents do need assistance with technology, we'll also have that support at the school sites. Questions?
I just want to say I really appreciate the support, the technology support at the schools. I think that will help us get forms filled out, that's great.
Thank you. I saw you pointed out the difference in the Hispanic parents' response, and I was just wondering, is the panorama survey given in any other languages?
Spanish. Spanish and English.
My question is around the multilingual. Is we've had an issue with this for some years, and then we had COVID. And so I'm wondering if we know how we can reach more students and families using things in their language. So for example, the school I work at, we have a lot of Arabic students, so everything goes home, in Arabic to them. We also have Filipino, so I know that there are schools out there who are getting the information out. So I'm just wondering how we would do that.
So one of the things is making sure that we have, with our school surveys, making sure that we understand what languages are in each school community. Each school community is unique. And so providing those translated languages for home information. Also, because tying the technology literacy gap along with the home language. So there's a 3-way kind of there's like a triad. There we go. There's a triad when it comes to communication. So you have technology that we've all kind of relied on since COVID because that's the way it is. There's also, and that creates technology literacy. You have the linguistic need based on home language. And then you also have time commitments. So if we're asking for people to come in person and we only have one time and they're not able to come, then that creates a barrier. So when we're looking at all 3 barriers and how we're asking people to come together, we have to look if there is a barrier, which part of that triad are parents facing a barrier for. And so that's why when we're talking about how are we going to break this down, providing supports for the technology literacy, also providing home language. And so I'm going to be working on coaching principals up at their sites. With our school site council, are we also adding ELACs to every site? Making sure that we're offering alternative times. Are we recording meetings and then helping families? Like, are they requesting that? So making sure that we have all of that available for parents. So that way, if they can't come, can they reach out and say, hey, I didn't get to that meeting, but do you have that available for me? Because the whole point is that we are here to support parents.
My other question is, for example,
Mhm.
this meeting, do we have it in Spanish? Translated in Spanish for our families? Yeah, so, I mean, that's a start, so
Mhm.
that, they can know what's happening at the board level and the
Mhm.
district level.
Absolutely.
And with the changes in enrollment and registration forms through Synergy, we are setting it up so that it can be printed in multiple languages. They have about 32 languages available. And so that will be part of the processes. And then we are looking at, we have some apps that do translation for us so that when a survey goes home, like Panorama, that can also be translated into multiple languages. Right now, we have over 32 languages spoken in Pacifica. And so we're looking at ways to include all parents so they get the information they need in their home language.
And yeah, and even like with the curriculum that we're looking to adopt in programs, when they have a parental component, like our CTE programs and things like that, if there's a parental component, even that part is translatable and they can pick their home language. So everything is going to have that multilingual. Mhm.
Right, this is an action item. Do I have a motion to adopt the 2025-26 local? Oh. Okay. We switched, we rearranged ours. Okay. Okay, so D, enrollment and attendance report, Dr. Ladd.
Hey, we're going to be going over our enrollment and attendance numbers this evening for this school year. They were updated through June 5th. We start with our domains for academic excellence, which of course includes attendance. And of course, our learner profile, which are systems, our attendance systems are part of that work. And we will be starting with enrollment. This is our current enrollment grid for this year. It includes the current configuration with Cabrillo, Valamar, and Ocean Shore and their TK or K through 8th grade configurations. Our total enrollment is 2,677. The moderate projection in the demographer's report was 2656, which is 21 students over that projection. So those are our numbers there. And this is our demographic analysis. Our demographic analysis has really held steady from year to year. We haven't seen any really large swings. So, and here is our projected enrollment post reorganization. We are seeing a small drop in enrollment in the Ocean Shore and Valamar cohorts. We are still getting TK and K enrollment. So for instance, we have a +6 to add to this number here. Our typical, if we look at our typical trend, we would be trending up from this number to bring it closer to the moderate projection. So for 2025-26, the moderate projection from the demographer's report is 2,626, which is a decrease of 51 students from last year. The low projection would be 2,583, which would be a decrease of 94. At this number is actually our current number right now is a decrease of 92, but we're currently looking at about 2607, which puts us firmly between the moderate and the low projection numbers. for enrollment for 25-26. So, and then here are our updates in our enrollment. The ending enrollment, this excludes our non-public school placements of 14 students, and we do receive ADA for non-public schools. This is it's like sort of projected enrollment. And I just explained those numbers. The good news around the post lottery is that 93.5% of our TK families have received their first choice school, and a total of 98% of kindergarten families have been placed in their first place school. All sixth grade families have received their first choice placement. And again, this was the first year of online registration, and we have been able to reach out, or families have been able to find us if they've had problems. So we've had kiosks here in the district office. They've been able to find support at their schools where they attend, and families have also been able to email us and find support in that way. We do have plans to initiate a TK kindergarten online lottery for the 26-27 year, completing our journey to online enrollment lottery. So yay us. Next is attendance. Here are our attendance updates. Our Strive for 95 campaign was successful. We were at, basically at 94.61% for the year. There are two ways of looking at our attendance: August through June, and then there is a and then for the budget we look at it from the census date, which is October 3rd through March 15th. So we capture that data too. So those are real important dates for our ADA, which the state uses to determine. So we want to really focus on those dates in terms of what our enrollment is, but also we want to make sure our students are in school all year long. So two really important periods to be focusing on. We did I think our leaders in Jean Bellinger, our program coordinator, did a really good job of really messaging about the importance of coming to school. And the short-term independent study changed over. So if you had a planned absence from school greater than a day, you could have a short-term independent study, and we could recapture that ADA back if you did schoolwork while you were away on that day. And so we were really able to jump on that and implement that work. And our principals and our office staff really did a really good job of messaging it and getting that work out. And I think we did collect a really good amount of work. We can see the data on short-term independent study on the reports that we captured, and our office staff did a great job doing that. We do continue to see high absence rates in students with disability population. I've been working with our CPAC group to highlight the importance of at least coming to school if you do have a doctor's appointment, or bringing kids back to school after the doctor's appointment. So we've been making headways in that area. All subgroups except long-term English learners saw declines in chronic absentee rates. So that's really good. Where we go here, you can see our overall attendance percentages are slowly climbing, and our chronic absentee rates are declining. Our 2019 pre-COVID was in the single digits, around 7%. So my goal is really to get back to that rate. And it's kind of stubborn, but I think we can do it. I was really encouraged by the work that's been going on at the schools, at the individual sites, and the enthusiasm the principals have for making sure that this happens. And here you can see the attendance by school. So as we keep ticking up, the chronic absent rate is a little bit different because it's like a particular student could have a chronic absent issue, which can impact the attendance at the school, but it really does impact the student individually. Our ongoing attendance work, the real thing I really want to highlight is number 4, which is talking about the coordination of service teams. one of the things that we would look at when we're looking at referrals to coordination of service teams would be our attendance work, understanding the root cause, doing a root cause analysis, and developing tiered attendance interventions. And there is a lot of good work that other districts have done, developing tiered attendance models that we can be using here, that we don't have to sweat it and develop it ourselves, where we can really work with families to put a tiered attendance model in place. We already have a really good universal model, which is our Strive for 95 attendance campaign. So now we just need to put in place a really good tier 2, tier 3 pieces. And those are already out there. And so we can do that. I think that is the work that we really want to do next. Are there any questions?
I don't have any questions, but I want to congratulate you guys.
Thank you.
Work that was done at the sites and the cabinet level to get the student population. When I became a board member, it was a kind of a real quick, and I had to watch myself, but reality check that if you take your 2 kids out of school to go to Disneyland for 2 days, that's over $1,000 that the school district does not get anymore. So I think often we forget that even if we're having kind of a fun trip, it's still affecting the school district. So, but thank you for all the work that's been happening.
Well, thank you. Yes. And I'm grateful that the state has recognized that the short-term independent study piece can really help us capture that. It can be a win-win, right? So
I have a question too. Is the reason for the projected enrollment to be lower at Ocean Shore and Valimar because of the reorganization?
We do an intent to return form every year to send to families, and some families have indicated that they may not return. So they have said may not return. So we've put them in sort of the no category, and so we will be sort of on a wait and see on that. So
Thanks.
I just have a question, going back years, but when I was a parent, the front office used to put, I'm still okay. The front office used to say, hey, if you're gonna, do doctor's appointments, can you just have the kids come to school before 10?
Right.
So they can, clock in and, we could still get the funding for that. Are we still doing that kind of level of information too?
Yes. It can, there's different reasons that parents with students with disabilities, some students have really hard time with transitions. And so it can be really hard to move a student from one environment to another. Some doctor's appointments can be really difficult. And so it can really be difficult to make that transition to come back. And so we really want to work with parents on what it is that they need in order to bring a student back to school if they are having multiple doctor's appointments, and are having to miss school. So a case by case basis, yes. But in general, yes, that's a good rule of thumb, which is if you have to make a doctor's appointment during the school day, bring them early, bring them back, right? I think the next one is me too.
All right. Thank you. Next item E is human resources update. It's also Dr. Lau.
Thank you. Hey, filling in for Dr. Torres, doing a human resource. This is the small but mighty team with Ms. Santiago, Ms. Rivera, Ms. Pranza, and Dr. Torres. I'm managing our human resources department. The first part of the report today is going to be our labor partner collaboration. Here is a chart that shows all the work that was being done this year with meeting with LSCA and CSEA this year. 9 bargaining sessions, 19 article agreements for LSCA, 7 bargaining sessions and 15 article agreements for CSEA. And then Laguna Salada Managing Association, 1 meet and confer, confidential and cabinet, both 1 meet and confer each. Class size and projected staffing. As you all know, K through 3 classes at an average of 24:1 across these grade levels per school site. And in 4 through 8 self-contained classrooms, the maximum class size shall be 32:1. That hasn't changed. And then in 6th through 8th grade, the physical education teachers can have maximum daily contacts of 180, while 6th through 8th grade middle school contacts, 6th grade teachers will have 160 contacts, except by mutual agreement between the unit member and the site administrator. Transitional kindergarten, this is a change from last year. The ratio has been lowered to 10:1 with a maximum class size of 20, contingent on available state funding. And here is the projected general education staffing and vacancies by school sites. You can see the student enrollment, including SDC, and then vacant teacher positions for which we're still working on hiring. And here are special education certificated staffing and vacancies by school sites. We are making headway on this every day. I'm happy to report. And I think I reported on enterprise resource planning is moving. This is our software system called Frontline is starting in July 2025. This transition aims to streamline the business processes to improve operational efficiencies. You've heard Frontline before because it's also our substitute and leave system process. So it'll enhance data-driven decision-making. The County Office of Ed and its 23 school districts, including our school district, have been working together over the year to build and navigate this new system. And we've already started a robust training process for everybody to get started on. Happy to report that my team says it's easy peasy. So there you go. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Now we've got action items. Action item B, adoption of the 2025-26 local controllability accountability plan. Dr. Bowman.
Good evening again. Last week, we held the public hearing on our LCAP, and at that time, there were no comments or suggestions. However, we had done a complete process during the beginning in early December and moving through. Our surveys were conducted, our needed meetings were held with the important specific groups that are identified within the law. We also had our plan looked at by the San Mateo County Office of Education, including its processes, and we were compliant, was approved by the San Mateo County Office of Ed. We did receive feedback that there was, they would like, the parents and community would like more opportunities to provide feedback and have the opportunity to do input, maybe not once, but on a more regular basis or monthly type meetings. And we're listening to all the feedback that we received and making sure that we incorporate what we're able to incorporate. But I'm happy to announce that we were compliant, we were approved in all the different areas. And we made, there was a new requirement this year that indicated that some specific parent groups needed to be involved in meetings, and then they had to have written communication, which was a new addition this year, and that was also completed. So at this time, we would like to request approval for our local accountability plan and its adoption, which will be the continuation of a 3-year cycle.
I have a question. I thought that parents didn't show up to the LCAP meetings.
It depended on the group. When we met in January, we didn't have anybody attend, but we did meet with LSEA, CSEA, and that was completed. We also had the opportunity to meet with a few parents for DLAC. And then we met with CPAC twice, and that had a good attendance rate. And then we met with the Parent Advisory Council, and they, like in previous years, CPAC and the Advisory Council has been combined in the meeting. And we did that again this year and received very valuable input.
Awesome, thanks.
Sure.
So I was on the LCAP committee, maybe like 4 years ago, maybe before COVID, I don't know, COVID's been. But there were a lot of parents there. There were, I'm just seeing like all these, it was in the IBL library and all those tables were filled with parents and staff. And we all put up our stickies, you know, on. And so what, I'm just wondering how many parents were on the LCAP committee this year?
It varied, and I believe the lack of attendance or the decrease in attendance, the meetings were held at the end of January and beginning of February. And I think with the other district-wide changes, there was a focus on the other concerns or processes taking place. We had, I can't give you the exact amount, but I'm happy to look it up for you. But when we met with the Parent Advisory and CPAC, we had multiple families there, and we were able to get representatives from both parties.
Okay. Do you have a motion to adopt the 2025-26 local control accountability plan? Do you have a second?
Thank you.
Okay. Item C, adoption of the 2025-26 budget. Dr. Davis.
Good evening, Board President, members of the board, Superintendent Williams, and members of the community. Tonight we have before you another action item regarding our LCF budget, our adopted budget for the 25-26 school year. With that understand that LEAs are required to adopt a budget July 1 of each year. From that point, our county superintendent then takes it and is required to review and examine our adopted budget. Prior to that process, we are required as an LEA to hold public hearing meetings, which we held on June 11th, and also provide our budget to the public for public review and consumption. That public review began on June 5th and concluded on June 11th. Understanding that and having heard the public hearing previously on June 11th, it is recommended to the board approve the 25-26 budget as it is written.
Sorry, I do have one question, and this doesn't need to be answered right now but it is related to the budget. I'm curious to know how close we are to becoming a basic aid district. Do you know?
You know, that's been like the question of the day as long as I've been in Pacifica, and I can say that you're not. You're not close. You're not close. Unfortunately, because you do have a very, very robust single family residence area here, but the tax base isn't as robust as the single family residents are.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Do I have a motion to adopt the 2025-26 budget? Do I have a second?
On David, please raise your hands. Motion passes 5-0.
And I believe that might have been Dr. Davis's last presentation. So I'd just like to say thank you. Have a couple. Okay. I was just gonna say thank you. I'll say thank you later. I'll say thank you later. Okay, item D, tentative agreement between Pacifica School District and the California School Employees Association, CSEA, Chapter 128 for the school year 2024-25. Dr. Ladd.
Yeah, the California School Employees Association, Chapter 128, and the Pacifica School District have completed the 2024-25 school year reopener negotiations subject to ratification by the CSEA unit members and ratification by the District Board of Education. The parties agreed to amend the current collective bargaining agreement as reflected in this tentative agreement. Except as provided in this tentative agreement, the current agreement shall remain in full force and effect. The parties agree as follows. Article 10, compensation. The parties agree to the following revision in section 2.10. Compensation package 24-25 school year. For the 2024-25 school year, the eligible CSEA unit member shall receive a one-time off the schedule payment of 3.5% based on their current base salary as indicated on their salary schedule. To be eligible for this payment, a unit member must be paid in paid status with the district as of June 1st, 2025. The district will provide payment no later than July 10th, 2025, and will make reasonable efforts to provide payment by June 30th, pending timely ratification of the tentative agreement and approval of AB 1200 disclosure by the San Mateo County Office of Education. Section 10.4, health benefits. The parties agreed to the status quo regarding the existing collective bargaining agreement language regarding health benefits. Section 11.7, outdoor education. The parties agreed to the following revision to section 11.7. The stipend for outdoor education shall be $125 per day for staying overnight, equaling $500 for the 4 overnights over the 5-day period. Unit members selected by the district to attend outdoor education shall receive compensation for working beyond their regular schedule. 4, grant clerk position. Parties agree to the range 55 for the grant clerk position. 5, this tentative agreement fully and completes negotiations for the 24-25 school year with no reopeners. With that, we ask that you approve the tentative agreement between the Pacifica School District and the California School Employees Association, Chapter 128.
Okay, are there any questions? Nope. Do I have a motion to approve? Do I have a second?
Second. All in favor, please raise your hand. Pass 5-0.
Item E, public disclosure of collective bargaining agreement. Dr. Ladd?
Yeah.
Oh, Dr. Davis, that's why I didn't know you had another one.
There's not a problem. Okay, so we have another action item before us. Action item 11E, public disclosure of collective bargaining agreement. In accordance with Assembly Bill 1200, the law governing the fiscal health of school districts, the board must make public the financial impact of an increase in compensation for employees. The district and CSEA reached agreement on June 10th, 2025, and you have the attachment there in front of you. This brief memorandum speaks only to the financial agreement of negotiated outcomes. The financial impact being a one-time off-schedule payment of 3.5% to unit members in pay status as of June 1st, 2025. With that being said, it is recommended that the board approve the public disclosure of collective bargaining agreement for the California School Employees Association, Chapter 128, CSEA.
Do you have a motion to approve the public disclosure of collective bargaining agreement for CSEA? Motion, a second. I'll second.
All in favor, please raise your hand. Passes 5-0.
Thank you very much.
Item F, discussion, consideration, and approval of interim superintendent employment agreement. Okay. So the proposed agreement for interim superintendent, Dr. Carissa Bowman, contains the following material terms. The term of the proposed interim superintendent employment agreement shall begin on July 1st, 2025, and shall continue through June 30th, 2026. Compensation, effective July 1st, 2025. The interim superintendent shall be compensated with an annual salary of $199,800. Shall receive a car allowance of $250 per month. Shall receive a district provided cell phone consistent with board policy, and shall receive an executive coach. Benefits. The interim superintendent shall be entitled to health care coverage under the same medical group, dental, optical, and other group health insurance plans as are provided by the district to other management employees on the same terms and conditions and subject to the same co-pays, deductibles, and premium payments required as those benefits may change from time to time for board action. Vacation, sick leave, and holidays. The interim superintendent shall be entitled to 25 days of vacation, 1.5 days of sick leave for each month of service rendered, and holidays, as are provided to management. Work year. The interim superintendent's work year shall be 261 days. Duties. The interim superintendent will perform all duties and the functions of the position as provided in the district superintendent's job description as directed by the board and consistent with all applicable board policies and regulations and applicable laws for this position. It is understood that the advance of this position will require the interim superintendent to average more than an 8-hour workday or a 40-hour work week. Therefore, the parties agree that employee shall not be entitled to overtime compensation. This concludes the summary of the employment agreement for the interim superintendent. A complete copy of this agreement is available at the district office upon request. Any questions?
I do have a question. Is the $250 a month allowance standard for all cabinet members or
Superintendent.
for superintendent? Yeah, okay, thanks.
And this may be a very wide-ranging question, but it might be good for our community to know, is what do superintendents' salaries range from?
Well, it depends on where you are, but they can range from, depending on the size of the district, if it's basic funded, community funded district, or if it's LTFF, it can range anywhere from $150,000 to over $350,000. So it all depends.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I have one more question. The agreement includes up to $5,000 for executive coaching. I'm curious to know how that coach is selected.
That will be a conversation between the board president and the interim superintendent.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the interim superintendent?
Make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion passes 5-0.
Okay. Do you want to say something?
Just want to express my gratitude and appreciation to the Board of Trustees and also Dr. Williams, who served as a coach, a professor, a leader throughout this entire year, where I learned many, many different things that will contribute to my journey being here in Pacifica and contributing to the whole community. I live in the community. This place is where I call home, and I'm very excited to be able to work in an area that is home and be able to contribute positively to not only the schools, but also our community as a whole. I bring a lot of experience, over 2 decades of experience, from a teacher to a school administrator to a district employee. And I am very happy to continue this journey and be part of the Pacifica family. So I greatly thank you for this opportunity, and I will do very well as best as I can to serve all of our families and children within Pacifica School District. Thank you so much.
Okay. Item G, discussion, consideration, and approval of interim deputy superintendent employment agreement. Okay. The proposed agreement for the interim deputy superintendent, Ms. Martha Ladd, contains the following material terms. term. The term of proposed interim deputy superintendent employment agreement position shall be July 1st, 2025, shall continue through June 30th, 2026. Compensation. Effective July 1st, the interim deputy superintendent shall be compensated on an annual salary of $196,800. Shall receive a car allowance of $250 per month. Shall receive a district-provided cell phone consistent with board policy, and shall receive an executive coach. Benefits. The interim deputy superintendent shall be entitled to health care coverage under the same group medical, dental, optical, and other group health insurance plans as are provided in the district to other management employees on the same terms and conditions and subject to the same copays, deductibles, and premium payment requirements as those benefits may change from time to time through board action. Vacation, sick leave, and holidays. The interim deputy superintendent shall be entitled to 25 days vacation, 1.5 days sick leave for each month of service rendered, and the holidays as provided to management and personnel. Work year. The interim deputy superintendent's work year shall be 261 days. Duties. The interim deputy superintendent will perform all duties and the functions of the position as directed by the interim superintendent and the board, and consistent with all applicable board policies and regulations and applicable laws for this position. It is understood that the demands of this position will require the interim deputy superintendent to average more than an 8-hour workday or a 40-hour work week. Therefore, the parties agree that employees shall not be entitled to overtime compensation. This concludes the summary of the employment agreement for the interim deputy superintendent. A complete copy of this agreement is available in the district office upon request.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference between an interim deputy superintendent and assistant to the superintendent?
We don't have an assistant to the superintendent.
No. Okay. Thanks.
Any other questions? Yes.
I just have to ask you something. I need to get something from Barbara. Be excused for 1 minute.
We're having a break right after this?
Oh, good.
Okay. Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the deputy superintendent?
I'll make a motion to approve the superintendent.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion passes 5-0.
With appreciation to the Board of Trustees and
I love you too, Martha.
Dr. Williams, I accept this opportunity to serve as interim. Dr. Williams, thank you for the trust you placed in me and our intrepid special education and student services team. Your guidance, mentoring, and yes, your nudging made the possible definite. Trustees, I have witnessed your steadfast vision and determination to bring all manner of health, well-being, partnership, and joy throughout the district, and I have been inspired. This year, in working with teachers, principals, administrative staff, specialized service providers, counselors, maintenance and facilities workers, van drivers, and many other district and school personnel, I understand the scope, importance, and value of the work we all do for children and families each and every year. I will approach this position with dedication, seriousness, excitement, and optimism this community deserves. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're actually going to take a 15-minute break right now. And there is, I believe, cake out in the entryway to say goodbye and thank you to Dr. Williams and Dr. Davis. And we can congratulate our two new superintendent and deputy superintendents all at the same time.
Thank you.
From Director of Educational Support Services, Ms. Stacy Stoffer.
Thank you. Good evening, Board of Trustees, President Berdahl. Guys hear me? This evening, we bring forth the consideration of approval for the interim executive director of educational support services for Stacy Stoffer. Dr. Stoffer has an extensive experience in working in leadership roles in schools, school districts as administrator, as a site administrator and lead, and then also as a community member. She brings to us 16 years of experience in education, 7 years of experience in administration, and program coordination. Dr. Stoffer has developed and led professional development opportunities for staff and professional learning communities, revisioning school success teams, as well as essential standards in mathematics and NGSS. In the short time that Dr. Stoffer has been a part of Pacifica School District, she has coordinated the Pacifica Pipeline Project. She has also started fostering partnerships with community organizations as well as organizational partners. Dr. Stoffer has worked with PSD's principal on visioning on CTE on their sites, including curriculum development, program planning, and hiring. She has collaborated with Jefferson Union High School District to provide 2025 CTE Green Career Summer Program and has organized a project-based learning professional development this summer for which one liaison or administrator from each school site will attend to be continually supported in the 25-26 school year by our PBL liaison at all schools within our district. The proposed agreement for the interim executive director of educational support services, Dr. Stacy Stoffer, contains the following material terms. The term of the proposed interim executive director of educational support service employment agreement position shall begin on July 1st, 2025 and shall continue through June 30th, 2026. Compensation. Effective July 1, 2025, the interim executive director of educational support services shall be compensated with an annual salary of $172,636, shall receive a car allowance of $75 per month, and shall receive a district-provided cell phone consistent with board policy. Benefits. The interim executive director of educational support services shall be entitled to health care coverage under the same group medical, dental, optical, and other group health insurance plans as are provided by the district to other management employees on the same terms and conditions and subject to the same copays, deductibles, and premium payment requirements as those benefits may change from time to time through board action. Vacation, sick leave, and holidays. The interim executive director of educational support services shall be entitled to 25 days of vacation, 1 1/2 days of sick leave for each month of service rendered, and the holidays as are provided to management personnel. Work year. The interim executive director of educational support services shall work year shall be 261 days. Duties. The interim executive director of educational support services will perform all duties and the functions of the position as directed by the interim superintendent and the board and consistent with all applicable board policies and regulations and applicable laws for this position. It is understood that the demands of this position will require the interim executive director to average more than an 8-hour workday or a 40-hour work week. Therefore, the parties agree that employees shall not be entitled to overtime compensation. This concludes the summary of the employment agreement for the interim director of educational support services. I have one update if possible. For the agreement to be updated to reflect the car allowance, which I believe is $125 for cabinet level. It's $125, this says $75. And so if you would approve it with the condition that the car allowance be updated.
I have a question. Sorry. Will the Pacifica Pipeline project like the job that Stacy will be stepping away from, is that are we gonna need to hire for that position, or is that gonna be part of this job?
The CTE position will be filled, coordinator position, will be filled.
Okay, thanks.
There will be an actual search for that position.
Okay. All right, do you have a motion to approve with the addition of the car allowance?
Motion to approve with the addition of the car allowance to 125.
Yeah.
And do I have a second?
I'll second. All in favor, please raise your hands. Motion passes 5-0.
Good evening to the Board of Trustees and Dr. Williams. I'm honored to be selected as Interim Executive Director of Education Support Services. A special thank you to Board of Trustees, Dr. Williams, Dr. Bowman, and cabinet members. And most importantly, thank you to the staff and community members of Pacifica. I will also want to thank my partner, Eric, my son Elijah, for sitting here. And we're excited about the opportunity to relocate to Pacifica, where I can be closer to family, friends, who are part of the community. I'm excited to be becoming a part of the Pacifica community, looking forward to becoming further embedded and continue doing the good work that I've been so passionate about and supporting all the kids here and
The educators. It's what I do. It's what I love to do. So I'd like to continue doing it. Thank you so much.
Okay, item H, hiring a coordinator of special education, Dr. Ladd.
We would like to bring forth the recommendation to approve the hiring of Hannah Jara as the new coordinator of special education for the 2025-26 school year. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve Pacifica School District to hire Hannah Jara as the coordinator of special education for the school year 25-26. Hannah Jara has been selected as the new coordinator for the school year. Ms. Jara, 25-26. Ms. Jara has over 25 years of leadership and teaching experience across diverse educational settings, including special education. Currently, she is serving as the regional instructional manager in Fresno Unified School District. She supports collaboration around multi-tiered systems of support, inclusion practices, IEP writing and compliance, program placements, behavior, and classroom management, resolving issues as they arise with families, coaching professional learning communities, and engaging in data reviews. Currently, she supports 5 elementary schools that have a continuum of services ranging from resource specialist programs all the way to extensive needs support programs. Through the daily site visits and check-ins with classroom teachers, site administration, and school psychologists, she determines the support that is needed and celebrations of what is going well. One of her beliefs is that we should always lead with what is best for our students and as a team ensure that we are looking at the whole child, collaborating with families, and engaging in a cycle of improvement. Ms. Hannah Jara holds a Master's of Arts in Education, mild to moderate support needs credential, multiple subject teaching credential, and a Bachelor of Arts in Communication Studies from the California State University in Stanislaus. In addition, she received her administrative credential from California State University in Fullerton. We are excited to welcome Ms. Hannah Jara to the Pacific School District community.
Are there any questions? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the hiring of Hannah Jara as the new coordinator of special education for the 25-26 school year?
Sorry, I do actually have a question. I'm sorry. So So does Martha Ladd stay as the Director of Special Education and Student Services? And then this is for Betsy Belkin's position that she left? Okay, and then, okay, gotcha.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you for the question.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
I'll second. In favor, please raise your hand. Passes 5-0.
Item J, approval of the 25-26 school plans for student achievement, SIPSAs. Dr. Bowman.
Good evening again. We are requesting approval for our school plans for student achievement for Cabrillo, IBL, Ocean Shore, Ortega, Sunset Ridge, and Valamar. They were presented to you for review on June 11th, and at this time, we're bringing them forward for the approval of the Board of Trustees.
Are there any questions? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the 25-26 SIPSAs? Do I have a second?
I'll second. All in favor, please.
Thank you.
Okay, item K, discussion, consideration, and approval of LSMA meet and confer summary. Dr. Davidson.
Good evening, Board President, members of the board, Superintendent Williams, and members of the committee once again. What we have is an action item K, discussion, consideration, and approval for Laguna Salada Management Association meet and confer summary. Laguna Salada Management Association met with the superintendent to meet and confer regarding health and welfare benefits and compensation for the 24-25 school year. That meeting manifested in the following material terms. Compensation for 24-25 school year effective July 1, 2025. Eligible LSMA employees shall receive a one-time off-schedule payment of 2.5% basis on their current base salary only for the 24-25 school year. To be eligible for this payment, a unit member must be in paid status by the district as of June 1 of 2025. This one-time off-schedule payment shall not apply to additional days worked beyond the work calendar. Another material term was cell phone effective by September 1 of 2025. LSMA employees shall elect prior to the beginning of the school year either a district-provided cellular device and telephone number or the telephone stipend provided by Board Policy 3513.1. This concludes the summary of the meet and confer summary for LSMA, and a complete copy of the meet and confer summaries are available from the district office upon request. With that being said, it is recommended that the board approve the LSMA meet and confer for 24-25.
Do you have any questions? No? Do I have a motion to approve the LSMA meet and confer for 24-25?
Make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
All in favor, please raise your hands. Motion carries.
Item L, discussion, consideration, and approval of cabinet meet and confer. Dr. Williams.
Good evening again to Board of Trustees, President. Here we have the Cabinet Meet and Confer Summary. Compensation, effective July 1, 2025, eligible Cabinet members shall receive a one-time off-schedule payment of 1.5% based on their current base salary only for the 24-25 school year. To be eligible for this payment, a unit member must be in paid status with the district as of June 1st, 2025. This one-time off-schedule payment shall not apply to additional days worked beyond their work calendar. Health and welfare. Effective July 1, 2025, the district will contribute to each cabinet member employee on an individual basis an amount sufficient to provide the employee and or one dependent annual medical coverage at 100% of the cost of the premium of 2 tiers of coverage, single employee and employee plus one dependent of the Kaiser plan. Cell phone, effective by September 1st, 2025. Cabinet members shall elect prior to the beginning of each school year either a district-provided cellular device and telephone number or the telephone stipend provided by Board Policy 3513.1. This concludes the summary of the meet and confer summary for cabinet members. A complete copy of the meet and confer summaries are available from the district office upon request.
Do you have any questions? All right, do I have a motion to approve the meet and confer summary? Do I have a second? Item M, discussion, consideration, and approval of confidential employee meet and confer. Dr. Bowman.
The proposed meet and confer summary for confidential executive assistant has the following material terms. Compensation for the 2024-25 school year. Employees should receive one-time off-schedule payment of 2.5% based on their current base salary only for the 2024 and 2025 school year. To be eligible for this payment, the confidential employee must be in paid status with the district as of June 1. This one-time off-schedule payment shall not apply additional days, overtime, hours worked beyond the work calendar. Cell phone, effective by September 1st, 2025, employees shall either have a district-provided cell phone and phone number or a telephone stipend provided by Board Policy 3513.1. This concludes the summary of the meet and confer for the confidential executive assistant. A complete copy of the meet and confer summaries are available from the district office upon request.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the meet and confer for a confidential employee?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do you have a second? Item N, discussion, consideration, and approval of food nutrition manager meet and confer. Dr. Davis?
Again, good evening, everyone. The food nutrition manager met with the superintendent to meet and confer regarding compensation, health, and welfare benefits for the 24-25 school year. That meeting manifested in the following outcome. On January 1, 2026, the district shall increase each cell of the Child Nutrition Program Manager's salary schedule by $10,000. This concludes the summary of the meet and confer summary for the Child Nutrition Manager. A complete copy of the meet and confer summaries are available at the district office upon request. As such, it is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the Food Nutrition Manager's meet and confer for 24-25.
Okay, are there any questions? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the meet and confer for the food nutrition manager? Oh,
One thing, did you say January 26th?
January 1, 2026.
yes. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you have a second?
I see. Oh, sorry, never mind. Sorry.
Okay. Item O, approval of resolution 2025-06-18-B, authorized signatures.
Good deal, good deal. So the background being Educational Code Section 52632 states that each order drawn on the funds of the school district shall be signed by at least a majority of the members of the governing board of the district or by a person or persons authorized by the governing board to sign orders in its name. No person other than an officer or employee of the district shall be authorized to sign orders. With that being said, Resolution 2025-6-18-B are a list of those individuals that we are asking for approval, and I will read it to you as a resolution being, whereas Education Section 42632 states, Each order drawn on the funds of a school district shall be signed by at least a majority of the members of the governing board of the district or by a person or persons authorized by the governing board to sign orders in its name. No person other than an officer or employee of the district shall be authorized to sign orders. And whereas education section 42632 requires that the signatures authorized under the Education Code section 42632 shall be filed with the county superintendent of schools. And whereas the governing board of Pacifica School District has authorized any one of the following 5 officers or employee signatures on district orders commencing July 1, 2025. Those names being Carissa Bowman, Carla Chavez Torres, Martha Ladd, Garrett Logan Martin. It is hereby resolved that the county superintendent be notified of this action on the authorized signatures form issued by said county superintendent, regularly passed and adopted this 18th day of June, 2025.
Are there any questions? Do I have a motion to approve? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right.
And item 12, Board of Trustees Superintendent recap and future agenda items. I was just going to say first that I want to say thank you to Dr. Davis for the last year. For being here. Thank you. But thank you very much for all your work this year. And of course, Dr. Lips.
I just wanted to say thank you, Dr. Davis. Thank you for stepping in at a time when the district was in need. We appreciate your service and support to the community of Pacifica. In addition, I'd just like to once again reiterate my appreciation for the entire executive cabinet, for all of our coordinators, our teachers, and staff, and community members. And indeed, we also send a special shout out and thank you to Dr. Carla Chavez Torres for her work and commitment to the district as well. Again, thank you all. It's appreciation beyond your expectation. Thank you.
Anyone have any else tonight?
Well, I just want to say thank you, Dr. Davis, thank you, Dr. Davis, for your professionalism and stepping up when we needed you. Thank you.
I've enjoyed working with you too since Measure G. Remember that? Back a long time ago, it seems. Thanks for all that you've done for our district.
Okay. All right, I'll adjourn the meeting at 8:35.